M3.
Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast,
M3.
the number one resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners
M3.
to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4,
M3.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy, and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And I'm excited because I've got a superstar that I need you to meet. This gentleman is a general manager. Automotive car sales. He bleeds gasoline. Brandon Stewart, my man. Tell everybody where you're from and what dealership you're representing.
Hello, Sean. I'm really excited to be here. So I am from Eldon, Missouri. Dealership is Lloyd Automotive.
Okay, and so tell us a little bit about the area that you're in. Like, what's the population, and how long have you been there, and how did you get there?
Yeah, so this is my hometown. I was raised in this town. My dad had a little car lot in this town for 38 years. I grew up at that little car lot. Now I work at the biggest dealership in my hometown. This dealership's been here for 40 years. We used to have 5 new car chains. We broke off as an independent. Handle pretty much any make and model there is. But so Eldon is a very great town. It's also a small town. So we're a town of 5,000 people. My dad used to tell me, in order to be relevant, you need to know your market well. So, we deal with a lot of trucks, SUVs, cars, diesel trucks, heavy trucks, that's kind of what we specialize in. But, nowadays we've been breaking into a little bit more of the import industry too, because the business has changed, So people are buying what they want. They're locating cars that they want based on price. And with the market the way it is, I think people are really finding, hey, this is the exact car we want. Let's locate where the best price is and let's go find it. So, we've been delivering to all across the U.S. now.
All right, so let's rewind a little bit. You were in automotive. Let's talk about your dad. What was your dad's position in automotive, and when did you start? How old were you when you first started getting acclimated to car sales and the industry?
Yeah, so a good question. I was probably, I would say, so when I was 2 or 3 years old, I would go into my dad's dealership, and there was a camper out there. So I would hang out with him. I didn't go to a daycare or anything. I would eat pizza inside with the customers. I would grab keys. I would kind of just terrorize the lot, honestly. So I've really been in it most of my life. We used to play a game when I was a little boy, probably 6, 7 years old. He would have me guess the make and model by the headlights of the cars at night. And then he would ask me what a price range of that car would be. So really, I kind of grew up in it. My dad was 50-50 ownership with his brother also. And so I had quite the upbringing in the auto industry, I would say. But it was a car lot. So we had maybe 15 to 20 cars, all priced under about $15,000. But, my dad used to say, too, you should never need a smartphone to know that you're an expert in this business, Brandon. Know the market well enough to where if you're looking at something, you know what it's worth and really what you're looking at. You got to eyeball it a certain way to see if there's body damage or, when you come from more of a mom and pop shop, everything matters. You don't have a huge recon budget. So you use your own money. I think that's really been great for me in this business because we're obviously a bigger dealership to where everything matters. Every dollar matters. And that's kind of the upbringing I got from him. And this was back in the old West days at the car auctions where you walk in and there's like kegs of beer on the ground and it's BYOB and, it's night sales and I'm driving the car hauler home sitting on my dad's lap. So it was quite the experience.
So it's an amazing story, man. So you literally grew up automotive. Now,
yes.
Tell us about the current dealership is Lloyd Automotive. It's an independent dealership in Missouri, Yep. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so when you took over, you said that you achieved some type of milestone. So tell us what happened when you took over the dealership.
So I've worked here at this dealership for about 10 years. I've only been the general manager for about a year and a half. Our owner, Lloyd at the time, who started this place. Like I said, he's 40 years, been in business, just a great man. But his number one thing was he was people first. And he passed away about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And we didn't have the best management at the time. We weren't selling the most cars. We weren't making the most money. His daughter, Kelly, who owns the business now, she's worked here her whole life and kind of grew up in the business like I did. She came to me and we were always kind of in each other's office, like strategizing and everything. Like, all right, what do we do to pull ourselves out of this rut and to get ourselves relevant again? Because, like I said, we used to have 5 new car chains. She's used to that kind of intensity. We want that luster back. We want that intensity back. So what I did is I hit the ground running, man. She's basically said, here's the checkbook, start buying. Well, the way we bought before was we have 2 auctions around us. We have Manheim, St. Louis, Manheim, Kansas City. We would wait every Tuesday and Wednesday to buy cars. Well, I can't wait that long to bring inventory in, especially this was like right after COVID hit. So everything was just kind of nuts. Well, I went in and I just started buying cars across the country. We have a large shipping company here in our hometown also. I went down, I brokered a deal with them to get all of our cars in quick. So I started finding the nicest inventory I could find. I would hand select them based on condition, based on Carfax, based on price. I'm not going to buy a car and bring it into this dealership if I have to price it for $5,000 over what other dealerships are charging for cars.
Okay, stop, because you're killing them with amazing information. But for our listeners, man, let's slow back down. And what I'm hearing you say is that when COVID hit, you were prepared with the strategy, and your strategy, you said, was that you wanted to start buying cars from all over the country. Then you said that you have a shipping company. Explain that. So who's the shipping company and how did you broker the deal, and what kind of deal did you broker with them?
Yeah, so S&S Auto and Logistics are based out of Eldon, Missouri. They're a pretty large shipping company. They do a lot of Ford. They do a lot of commercial stuff. But I knew the owner just because I've been raised in this town. So I went down to the owner, had a conversation with him about, all right, listen, here's how many cars I think I'm going to buy per month. Here's how many I'm going to buy per year. What type of per mile fee can you give me for these cars? I also brokered a set fee coming out of like Dallas, coming out of Nashville, coming out of Chicago. But really, I like to buy our cars from the southern states so you don't have to worry about rust. So we brokered a deal. I think last year we brought in almost 1,000 vehicles just from them. And that's not counting the outside people that are locally that we buy cars from. And
what exactly do they do? So again, I know what a shipping company is, but for some of our listeners, again, explain, what does this company do? What's the services they provide specifically?
Yeah, so this company has around 30 trucks, and they can haul anywhere between 8 to 12 vehicles at once. They have people out on the road 24/7 in other areas here in the U.S. So when you buy a car from Dallas or something, you'll get what they call a gate pass. As soon as I get the gate pass, I send it to the manager down at S&S Auto Logistics, and they send it to their drivers. Their drivers drive to the location, pick up the car, put it on their truck, get it here as fast as possible. It's always better if you can buy more than one in the same location, obviously, but it's really been a blessing for us because we have a constant influx of inventory coming in. And that's really what you need in these times right now. And we never needed inventory. I've always kept a stock through the pandemic and everything.
So again, this is amazing. In addition, so if I'm understanding, as you're finding targets of opportunity for acquisition, you now have a transportation partner that's able to get those from wherever you're buying them from to your dealership. Are you also using this company to deliver cars all over the country or no?
Absolutely.
I talked about that.
Really cool. So now that when you hand select a car, and you use a company, and I know we'll get into this later, like a VinCue. So VinCue is an amazing company. They've absolutely helped me do my job so much better. I'm like going through.
How'd you find out about VinCue?
Through you, my man. So watching your podcast, honestly, the podcast has been a huge inspiration for me because, like I said, I was a salesperson. I want to be the best general manager I can possibly be for this dealership. And how do you do that? It's knowledge. Knowledge is power. But how else do you do that? You have to learn. You have to be willing to listen to these companies who can provide you a valuable product. VinCue is absolutely amazing. So I can take a VIN number of any car, type it in. It pulls up every single one for sale in the nation, how much it is, how many miles are on it, how far it is away from your dealership. Hey, guess what? If I'm going to buy a truck for $30,000 and all the other ones around me are priced at $28,000, I'm probably not going to buy it, but if I can buy a truck for 30 grand and the other ones around me, 36, 37, 38, boom. Now I just bought a premium piece of merchandise. I did my homework on it, and I can price my vehicle in the top 1% in the entire nation, not just around my 5,000 town community here, which, by the way, I love my community, but I'm trying to think a little bigger. You know, I want to put this dealership back on the map because it was before, and it needs to be there again. So using that has really allowed us to sell across the U.S. now. So now when you have the best price and the best products, you have people from Florida calling, California calling. We just delivered a Range Rover long wheelbase to Maryland. That was an $80,000 car, but it was the lowest priced one in the nation and the exact color that she wanted. And that's why she bought it, you know? So I worked with S&S Logistics. We got her a fee. We shipped it right to her door.
This is freaking amazing. So listeners, do you hear this stuff right here? Again, now tell them the population in your town that you're in. What's the population in your town?
4,800.
Wow, less than 5,000 people live in your town. And so a lot of people make excuses. My whole saying that I always said is you need to exhaust every possible situation before you implement an excuse. You know what I mean? Like, again, before you say, oh, we're too small, there's not enough people, we don't have inventory, you need to figure it the fudge out. That's the Christian version. If you're a heathen, you can replace fudge for whatever you want to replace it for. But sure, I want to just commend you, brother, because I just think that that's amazing that you were like, you know what? I am not going to be a victim of my situation, being a small independent dealership in a small town with less than 5,000 people. What I'm going to do is I'm going to figure it the fudge out. I'm going to find a transportation company. I'm going to find a company like VinCue that's going to help me identify inventory. Now let's talk about that. So we get it. We understand the transportation thing. Brilliant. I love it. So you're using it bi-directionally. You're using it to acquire the vehicles, and you're also using them to deliver the vehicles. Now, let's talk about where you're buying the cars mostly from. Are they from individual people? Are they from websites? Are they from auctions? Or are they from all the above?
Honestly, as a general manager at a dealership like this, I am still small enough to do everything myself. I'm also large enough to where I have to have other companies to help me, like VinCue and a few other ones we'll talk about. So I am the vehicle buying department here in this dealership too. So anybody around here, and we put ads out all the time, whether they're video ads, hard copy ads, Facebook Lives, we'll buy your car. We have a large service department here that does anywhere between, say, 60 to 300 cars per month of people constantly coming in. So we'll put mailers in their car. As soon as they leave, when they pay their bill, we'll give them an envelope, something nicely inside of it. Hey, if you're ever in the market for a car, please stop by and let us know. If you ever would like to sell your car, stop by and I'll give you an instant quote. And it's me doing that too. I'm very much a believer in the general managers should step out of their office a little bit and engage with their customers. If you don't know what's going on in your dealership, how are you going to lead your dealership to greater profits and greater success? You have to be hands-on in every department, whether it's your business, center, your internet center, your detail, parts, service, tires. I am very much involved in all those departments because you never know when a customer is going to come in and do business with them. Like, I've been thinking about selling my car. So we really do. We buy from all over the place. We buy from a lot of locals here, but then also I use Manheim a lot too. And that's honestly kind of a struggle at the same time too. You got to really watch your P's and Q's with these people. You got to make sure that your buy fees are set. You got to make sure that your sale fees are set because everybody's going to always try to pull it over on you. Are you the general manager or manager that is watching these things and making sure that your fees are correct, and that if they're not correct, that you're going to get them corrected? Post-sale inspections are a main thing. You've got anywhere between 7 and 12 days for these things. Are you getting the car in time to get to your service department? Are you working with your service department to make the appointments, to make sure that you have recourse after you buy these cars? Because, hey, no car is perfect, but we do a 110-point inspection on every single car we sell. We are known to.
Let's go back, because one of the things I asked you in the pre-interview was, what is one of your superpowers? What are you really great at? And you're like, dude, I'm a buyer. Like, you know how to find vehicles. So let's give some tips. Let's just say I was a used car manager. I was the acquisition manager. I'm the BDC director. And my DP or GM said to me, look, we need inventory. Okay. So give us some, like, help your people, help the community.
Gotcha.
So what do you look for? Like, first, where do you look? Okay, so obviously VinCue, this is not a VinCue commercial at all. Like, I'm not getting paid for this shit. I shouldn't, Dan Zolofsky, but I'm not. So this is not a VinCue commercial, but you mentioned VinCue, you brought it up. So VinCue has very unique proprietary software that's unlike anything from like vAuto or any other shit that's out there right now. And it basically empowers you to have a whole nother transparency. You're able to see what's out there. Can you talk about that? Again, I'm not trying to give a commercial to VinCue.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, but just like what are you able to do with the software, and where are you targeting? Like, how are you trying to find cars? So before we, I don't want you to tell me yet how you buy them and what your criteria is. I just want to know, where do you start looking? Because people don't know.
Well, first and foremost, you got to identify the market that you're in. What is selling? What's going to make profit? I don't want to buy a car if it's not going to necessarily make profit. So there's a difference of having cars on your lot versus having cars on your lot that are going to pay your bills. So you really need to know what market you're in, and even what market you're in. Just because I'm in a market that we sell a lot of GMC Acadias, hey, does the market allow you to buy that GMC Acadia right now and still make profit on the car? So we're going into, say, VinCue is set up perfectly. I mean, VinCue will pull up every single car around you that's for sale by an individual on different platforms. It makes it super easy. I also like to go to Manheim. I hand select everything. I know the cars that work for us. So if I want a GMC 3/4 ton over the age of 2017, I'm going in there. I'm researching that exact same car. I'm making sure the condition report is tip top. I'm making sure the car has great miles on it. But ultimately, I'm making sure that we're buying it for the very best price around. Because my dad used to say one thing to me, and it resonates so much when I was a little boy. You make your money when you buy the car. If you buy the car right, you can afford to sell it to your customer for a cheaper price and still make your same amount of profit. But you know what you're doing? You're taking that customer, and I always say this too, I don't just want your business for one car. I want this to be the place you come to for every car. You don't do that by killing people and making huge gross all the time. You do that by earning their business, listening to them, but providing them with not only a great car, but for a great price at the same time. Another thing, know your product in and out.
You said something that I need to turn around and just like emphasize, because Danny Zalowski, who is the dealer principal of the Country Hill Motors Auto Group, and he's one of the big investors in VinCue, right? But he's a DP. He owns multiple independent stores, and he says this, and you're so right. A lot of people, especially on the front end side of things, they don't realize that you could make just as much money, if not more, in buying cars than you can in actually selling them. And so I've seen dealers implement an acquisition strategy and not only have inventory like this, but then massively increase their overall gross profits by the month, like excess of 50, 60%, like mind blowing freaking numbers, because
that's basically what ours is.
So you've increased your total gross profit by 50, 60% by buying the cars the right way. Is that what I just heard you say?
Absolutely.
That is strong as death. Okay, good. All right. So now I want to get into, what's your formula? Now, again, I know that you're in Missouri and stuff like that, but just give us a formula. So like a checklist, almost like a STIP checklist or a dealer jacket. When you're going to look to buy a car, help us.
Absolutely.
What to do. So what is the checklist?
So first off, like I always say this, you have to know your market. But as a buyer, your market is different than looking at it through the eyes of a customer. You have to look at it from the eyes of a buyer for your dealership. Look at it from the eyes of an owner of the dealership, though. Let's say that you're the owner and you're buying cars for the dealership. But are you smart enough to know when you look at this vehicle, and I look at hundreds of cars a day, as I'm scrolling through them, though, am I looking at it going, oh, that's a great price. That's not a good price. That price is excellent. So let's say I find one that I think is a good price. As soon as I go on that car, I'm checking out the condition of it. What is it going to need recon-wise? So the second thing I do is VIN number is the main thing that you need. You copy and paste that VIN number, you put it in VinCue, you check prices, you check Carfaxes, you check NADA, which VinCue has set up on one page for you. It makes it seamless. It's easy to use. So you want to make sure that you're doing that because you're getting ready to buy this vehicle and you're going to sell it to your customer, who's your lifeline. So, all right, Mr. Customer, this has a perfect Carfax. It's been fully maintained. It just went through our service department, 110-point inspection, and it's the best price around. But so after you research all those things and then you figure out, all right, so it's price after that. So obviously you want to either make an offer or buy this car. So you have to go in and you have to figure out what offer do you make contingent on if the car needs a certain amount of recon. You can't just buy a bunch of cars and hope that you make a ton of money. You have to have strategy in each and every one that you buy. Regardless if you buy 300 cars a month, 10 cars a month, or 1,000 cars a month, you should still have the same process. Process is everything. So make sure that your numbers are right. Make sure you're buying it for the right price. And obviously, we have to figure in shipping now. Hey, shipping has gone through the roof with the gas and diesel going up. So, we're paying more to buy our cars now, but we're buying them so much better than we used to. Our profits have went almost doubled. And I mean, some months are I'm not going to even lie. I want to represent the people out in the world too that do struggle. I'm not going to say this dealership doesn't struggle sometimes, and sometimes it can get rough, but are your profits good enough where you can sell 25 or 30 cars a month and still make that same amount of money that you would have made at 60, and that's kind of where we're at times is, our grosses are good enough because you make your money when you buy the car. It also helps having a service department here as well.
Tell us about your sales career. We're going to just switch tracks just for a second. You were one of the top salespeople. You said you broke records and stuff. Can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I worked here for about 10 years. I was a salesperson for the first 8. My first couple of years here, I really hit the ground running. I was the general manager at the time reached out to me and said, Brandon, would you consider a job at Lloyd Automotive? Obviously, my dad was still alive at the time. I worked with my dad at his used car dealership and said, Dad, what do you think about this? And he's like, Brandon, that would be a good opportunity for you. You should take it. Brandon, I've never seen someone get the better end of you. Take that job. As a little kid, we used to drive past this dealership, and I would always envision to myself that we have a huge glass front dealership. I said, man, I want to work in that corner office. I want that glass office over there. It must have been fate because my first office was that glass office. I was in the golf business for a little bit before I started cars. And one of the first cars I sold was actually a guy that came with his wife on the lot. It was just a normal up that I took. And I ended up knowing them. And I sold him my very first up. It was like a Suzuki SUV. And, you go through your process. And really, I'm a great listener, but you have to also read your customer at the same time. And that's really, I think, a gift for some people. And some people don't necessarily have it either, is if you're a great reader, you're going to know your keynotes that you need to really touch on. And it was really just good for me because I went from a small car lot to a dealership where there's so many more people coming in this dealership. It's given me so many more people to talk to. It kind of just flourished me. And I think my first month, I worked 2 weeks and I had sold 12 cars. I sold one almost every single day I was here. But it was fun, and it's still fun even to today. In my first year, I was the number one salesperson with, I think, 7 months. The other guy was here for 15 years and he had never lost. So I beat him in 7 months. And then 3 years after that, I was the number one each year also. But it was more than that for me. I want to be the best, but I also want to know the most about my product. I want people to enjoy the car buying process from me. I want people to think, wow, that dealership does amazing things for people. Sometimes when you're the big dealership in town, the mindset with people is, oh, they make so much money. They're this, they're that, they're whatever. Because there's a lot of other small car lots that don't necessarily, you can buy any car and stick it out on a lot for sale, but did you go through it? Is it maintained? Does it have a 110-point inspection? We try to, we have a lot of integrity here, and really we go through our cars and we're here for our customers even after the sale. So as the top salesperson for your organization and current general manager, give some advice, because right now we're in the kind of post-pandemic reality. Yeah. I mean, like, we're still enveloped in the aftermath. There's still an inventory crisis. We still have direct order situation for OEMs, which you're not. I get that, but there's still a lot of ish it's still left over that we're still trying to go through. Things are not normal. So how do you advise your salespeople to build their business within your business? So again, do you teach them just to take ups or how to generate their own business? Because we talked before the interview, and you have a unique perspective that I want you to share with our audience.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, M3, can you take me to greatness?
No problem. Let's have a look at your destination.
Cody Carter, showroom sales consultant, 154 units sold in 1 month. Featured on Fox News, Ali Rita broke the Guinness Book of World Records by selling 1,582 units in 1 year. Chrissy Carberry Burton, 74 units in 1 month from the sales floor. Frank Crinitti, 100 plus units sold per month from the showroom sales floor. Damon Lester, dealer principal and NAMAD president, helping minorities establish major precedents within the automotive industry. Tiana Mick, personal brand ambassador of T Got Your Keys, the #1 website for an automotive professional. Dylan Robertson, from $12 an hour to $12,000 per month at 19 years old. Colina Bradley, from making $25,000 a year to over $25,000 a month at age 21. Brandon Cargozo, sold over 106 cars on TikTok. Mike Davenport, with over 200 million minutes watched per month on his YouTube channel, Chevy Dude went from a sales consultant to becoming a dealer principal. Rob Ruth, dealer principal of Bob Ruth Ford, from selling 75 units to 320 units per month online. Damian Mills, CEO of Mills Automotive Group with 20 plus rooftops, the first and only African American to own a Bentley franchise. Danny Zevslovsky, dealer principal of Country Hill Motors, built a vehicle acquisition center that started buying 20 units per month, now over 250 units per month from the public. Glenn Lundy, as the GM of Dan Cummings Chevrolet, he took his team from 150 units per month to 1,150 units in Paris, Kentucky. Crystal Coombs and the Coombs Automotive Group, a $2.9 billion per year company. Is this where you want to go? Email chris@dealersynergy.com for a free demo.
Sure. Mindset's everything. Your salesperson mindset needs to be your mindset also. If you're not doing training in your facility, you're doing everything wrong. Training is the #1 most important thing. You've even said it best, like, just because you're a general manager doesn't mean that you're the best trainer in the world. So, I think that I am a good trainer, and I've used a lot of what kind of you've taught and really myself too, because we do training every day. We do training every week. I went out on the lot yesterday, grabbed it up with a salesperson and worked with him for 2 hours on the lot. And we sold a gentleman a car. I want our guys to see me in action as well. Not just, hey, we're behind this desk and you guys go do this and you go do that. I don't think that's the right way to do things. So as a general manager, if you're struggling or your sales are struggling or your guys got their heads down and they're not making much money, man, that's on you. So you need to get up, you need to go out there, you need to motivate your team, but you need to give them the keys to succeed. You need to ask them and know what they're doing every day to succeed too. Are your guys getting in and just sitting around and not doing anything? Or are they doing follow-ups? Are they asking for referrals? Are they working the service drive? When they're talking to people, are they just making phone calls or doing emails? That's not a great way to communicate. Well, how about this? How about you create a really cool TikTok video or just a 360-degree virtual walk around, or even, talk about the features of the car, sell the car through a video and just send it to them. Hey, I've made 3 phone calls and 3 text messages. I haven't been able to get a hold of this person. I know they like the car. Send the video, wait for the reply. You also need to handle objections. Everybody is designed and pre-programmed right now to think that cars are at their all-time high. That car's way too expensive. That car's way too expensive. Well, let me tell you what we do. We've heard that before, but we have a strategy process. We don't even buy a car unless we can price ourselves in the top 1%. We don't even put this car out here for sale unless my service department can go through a 110-point inspection, and we're still in the best price in the nation. So you got to set yourself up for success. If things aren't going right, then change it. Because let me tell you something, if you're stuck in this business and you're not making changes, you're going to be extinct and you're not going to stay relevant. And staying relevant in this business is key right now. And you've got to move, and you've got to do everything to stay relevant. And we've really done that. You talked about the new car stores not being able to get inventory. One of the cool things we did, Sean, is last year in wintertime, that was right when the new dealers did not have any inventory at all. I went and I bought the brand new Broncos. I bought brand new Ram TRXs. I bought brand new Tahoes, stuck them out on my lot with like anywhere between 100 and 1,000 miles on them. And I had a used car lot or dealership with brand new vehicles there. I went out and found them and I brought them in because nobody else around me had them. And that's how I kept us relevant through those times. So I've got all these massive brand new car chain dealerships around me. And what's funny is we had all the cars and they did not have any. But that's my mindset with, I am going to make this happen. I'm going to give my guys the keys to succeed at the same time.
Man, you're hitting them with some incredible knowledge at rapid fire pace. Let's go through, what about a new hire? So like, talk to the audience, like look in the camera and just like, if you're a new hire, say those words. If you're a new hire, here's some tips from a general manager. So pretend I'm a new hire. So what would you advise me?
You know what? I'm not your typical sales manager. I hired a guy from Chili's restaurant about 6 months ago. He came out and brought me my food sitting in my car. And he goes, "Hey, man, nice car you got there. Have you ever heard of this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've heard of it." He goes, "Oh, I kind of like it, but I really like this. The headlights are beautiful. Hey, man, have you ever thought about selling cars before? Why don't you give me a call sometime and come into the dealership?" And he called me the very next day. I brought him in. He's one of my best guys. So it's really just about being yourself. I tell everybody this, and my dad said this to me back in the day. It's not about being the best salesperson in the world, but be nice, listen, and then go through your process, and that's the main thing. If you're nice to people and you listen, they want to do business with you. But most people aren't going to do business with you unless they like you. We don't have the luxury of living in a huge populated city that we've got an influx of people coming in every day. So we have to take advantage of each and every person that we have. And new hires, don't be afraid to come in and show your cards. Don't be afraid to come in and be charismatic and show that you care. Put your freaking heart out there, because you're going to do it every day you're here. If you want to be successful and you don't go with your heart first, you're not going to be successful. This shit needs to matter to you more than anything, because you're changing your life. You said one quote once before, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but do you want the things that average people have, or do you want the things in life that average people do not have?
Let me clean that up. What I say is this: if you want the things the average person doesn't have, you got to be willing to do the things the average person isn't willing to do. Like, work your ass off. And I'm just doing this right now. I mean, legally, ethically, and morally speaking. So no, jump back in.
So saying that, I have not taken a day off of this dealership for a year and a half. It's not because I don't want to, but man, I love this shit. I love it. I eat, sleep, breathe it. I go home at night. I'm on my computer. I'm buying cars. I'm creating ads. I'm editing our videos. I do all of our videos. I do all of our editing. I also have a girl who works with me named Elena. She's our operations manager who helps me and kind of stars in some of our videos. Excellent. We've been getting super busy. So we've had to kind of hire a new person, Grow with Low Marketing, Lauren Weber. She has the same kind of concept and work mentality that I do. And she puts her emotions behind her videos. So it's like, I am not the average person, because I know what you have to sacrifice in this business if you want to be relevant. And your family is going to miss you. I don't have kids, but kids are going to miss you. But what are you working towards? Do you want to give them a better life? Do you want to give yourself a better life? How are you looking at yourself in the mirror every morning? Are you going to succeed this morning? Or are you like, "Oh man, I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that." I mean, honestly, then stay home, because I don't want somebody here that's going to be like that. Bring the energy, like, this is your chance to do something.
Wait a minute. I gotta stop. We have a special guest that just tuned in to start watching, Mr. Danny Zalowski for VinCue. He didn't hear the freaking kudos that you were giving him before. And so for the listeners that are just tuning in, remember what we do here at the Millionaire Car Salesman. I'm doing the live stream in the group. I don't announce it, you know what I mean? But then I take this live stream and I make it into our podcast, which is pretty huge, out there, over 500,000 downloads so far and counting. So do me a favor. Can you just recap what you said of how important, how vital VinCue is and why? I want to just give him a shout out real quick.
For me, VinCue has been probably the most vital part of my success in the dealership success. It takes guessing out of it. You don't just go by MMR, which is Manheim Market Report, which really doesn't know it's beepity beep from beep. I mean, honestly, but another thing too is you're researching these prices, not only for the dealership, but for your customer. I'm going through all this hard work because I want to offer my customer the best price. VinCue allows me to do that just by putting in a VIN number and knowing my shit after that. So I can put in this VIN number. I can pull up every single one around in the nation, and I know where everybody's priced at. So guess what? I'm going to have 100 cars on my lot. Each of them are going to be priced better than the dude down the road. You know, is that something that you would be interested in? Do you not want to buy a car and get the very best deal in the nation on it, Mr. Customer? You know, obviously, yes, but it goes further than that. So now I've used VinCue in our advertising. So let's say this, Sean, I bought a Jeep 392 not too long ago. These Jeeps have the 6.4 liter Hemi in them. They're 470 horsepower. They're absolutely awesome, but they're a $90,000 Jeep Wrangler, which is not. And this is another thing that bothers me is you can't sell that in Eldon, Missouri. Well, I don't just sell in Eldon, Missouri anymore, folks. But so VinCue allows me to go in and see how many Jeep Wrangler 392s they're at and where they're priced at. So now I'm going, say, like 300 miles away from me. There's a dealership that had 3 of them. They were all priced at $99,000. So now I'm taking my advertising and I'm throwing it in that city. And Lloyd Automotive is coming up going, oh, man, here's these Jeep 392s that's priced at $89,000, $10,000 cheaper than any of the ones there. So we've taken VinCue another step further with our advertising. And really, I'm sitting in the old owner's office. I've got a wall of Missouri road maps sitting right next to me, labeled with where cars are at in different locations, where my advertising is at now, all based off VinCue.
Yo, and Danny, he said something. He's paying attention to what you're kicking, because he said to me, and I'm going to repeat it because this is on the ready to record it. He said, you make the real money on cars when you buy the cars. And your daddy said that, right? Can you repeat that?
Absolutely. Yep. Brandon, you make your money when you buy the car. If you buy the car right, you know your stuff, you can afford to sell it to your customer lower than anybody else and make the same amount of money.
I love it. All right. So again, I'm just messing around. Again, this is not a paid endorsement at all. I promise you, Danny, is just really good at what he does. And what I really like about Danny Zlowski is that he's not just VinCue. Like, he owns multiple dealerships. He personally buys over 100 cars from the public. And the reason why, Brandon, the reason why VinCue came about with Danny is because he was tired of the bullshit from some of these parasitic vendors. I'm not gonna mention any names and stuff like that, but who
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So he, instead of just saying, complaining and bitching and moaning, he turned around and said, okay, my friend, you want to play games? Okay, watch this. And he turned around and he, built up VinCue. And now he took the power back from these vendors and he empowered himself and he's empowering dealers. And I just love it. Can you also share what you said to me? Because I didn't prompt you. You said it on your own. How much more money are you making because you're buying cars right? You use a percentage.
We're double the grosses.
That's over 50 to 60%. That's insane, bro. Insane.
Yeah. And, I don't like to, I am not going to sell somebody a vehicle and make $10,000 on them. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm so happy we're averaging 8,000 front and back total, 9,000 front and back total. Man, care about your customers a little bit more than that. Like, everybody should make money. Money's great. But how are you doing it? Can you stare at these people in the face when you see them at the doctor's office or at Walmart or at the gas station or grocery store and have your dignity? My old owner was so amazing. He used to, he did so many things for the community here. And he used to always say one thing, I don't want to be in the newspaper. I don't want anybody to know I did it. I love that. You're doing it for the right reasons. I want to be in this car business and I want to be successful for the right reasons. I want this dealership to be something that other dealerships are not. And I really want our customers to know that we have their back. I honestly think too, like Car Now is something that we brought on. It's a digital retailer. So it's on our website. It helps me engage with every single one of our customers. Everything these days is about time. Is the customer, each customer is going to they're going to have a different schedule. What time do they put the kids down? When's their free time? Are they at work? Do they have all these errands to run? Are they on their computers at 11 o'clock at night going to Lloyd Automotive's website, checking out these cars? Probably so. Are they going to be able to call you or talk to you at 8 a.m. the next morning when you get back to them? Probably not. So engage with your customer when it's convenient for them. I love that feature with Car Now and Melanie and Glenn Rogers, who have helped us out with Car Now, have been excellent. And really, I take the time myself to write each person that's on our website. I don't have a salesperson do it. I don't have a secretary do it. It's me. I want that. I'll have my computer out at midnight, 1:00 if it goes off. I'm writing them back. I'm sending them a video on top of that. What do all the dealerships do? They put their cars online. They put 20 or 25 pictures, and that's it. How fun is that? Show the car for what it is. We make mini commercials with our cars now. We put our employees in these commercials, videos. We'll take our car off site. We'll go down to like the Lake of the Ozarks, which is a pretty popular lake near us. We'll do videos down there. We'll use different businesses here in our hometown, featuring them on our videos. We have fun with our stuff. And that's really, my old boss used to say, people buy on impulse and stick on logic. So are you giving them the impulse to come here and take a look at the car? And do you know enough about your product when they get here to help educate them on everything that it has? That's something that my team and I do training on all the time, is knowing your product. When your customer asks you something, can you give them the 100% truth in the answer? We had a guy the other day that loved his 2007 Chevy Duramax. He was interested in a 17 GMC Denali Duramax. I just love my truck. It's so comfortable. It tows great, but what's the difference? Well, these newer trucks have double the torque that his truck had. He didn't know that. So when he hooks his camper up to it, it squats his truck like crazy, and he tore out a transmission climbing up his hill at home. So do we know enough about our product to educate this gentleman that will help him make his decision? And does he feel good about it at the end of it? Is he going to come back if he needs anything else? But most importantly, is he going to tell everyone the experience that he had? And that's what I want everyone to do, is to tell their experience about, hey, we've done business with Lloyd Belt and they were amazing, and here's how. People are only going to do that if they're happy and if they have a good time.
Brother, again, this is freaking straight fire information. I don't want to take too much of your time. I want to go now into just one next category, management. Okay, so we talked like the two big topics we covered today with you, which I really appreciate, is acquisition, used car buying. I mean, because again, inventory is one of the biggest problems still in the automotive industry, whether you're independent or you're franchise. And what you shared, I think, is really vital and very strategic. So I appreciate that. Then we transitioned, and you graced us with some really cool feedback and thoughts for a salesperson, especially somebody that's just getting into the industry. Now let's take it up a notch. I think that management, I'm going to speak freely, okay? And I don't mean to disrespect, because I have a ton of clients and I respect everybody. But the reality is, I think that management has been degraded. Back in the day, we had managers that sit on a tower like they're throne. Mm-hmm. But we don't need that shit anymore, especially with technology and stuff like that. We need managers that are going to manage, okay? We don't need just desk, people that are just sitting on their thrones and penciling deals and go do this and go that. The problem I find, and I want your opinion, is that not enough sales managers, GSMs, and general managers are training and educating. You know what I mean? Not enough sales managers, GSMs, and GMs are utilizing the technology the correct way, whether that's the DMS, especially the CRM, or there's other tools, whether it's VinCue or it's Car Now or it's whatever. There's so many different tools and resources, but it's a rhetorical question. How could you be a manager and expect your frontline salespeople, a salesperson, a BDC rep, a receptionist, etc., to use these tools? You know what I'm saying? Like if you're not training, if you're not using your Bradley and a Man training platform, if you're not using your VinSolution CRM, if you're not using your VinCue, tracking, if you're not using your there, how do you expect your team to do it? So I want your opinion. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying as a general manager, you've been in the industry a long time, since you were a kid. Do you agree with me? Do you think there's a deficiency?
Absolutely. Totally. 100%. 100%. I think that you have to decide what type of manager you are. Are you a manager that wants a paycheck and that's all that matters to you? Or are you a manager that wants success for your dealership and for your employees? I look at our owner now, Kelly. Her number one goal in this dealership is to provide a good living for each and every one of our employees. It's not to make millions. It's to help. It's to support our employees, and that's, I think that's where, decide what type of person you are. Do you just want a paycheck as a manager? Do you just want that big fat general manager paycheck? Or do you want to make your dealership successful? If you want to make your dealership successful, then you have got to do a numerous amount of things to make your dealership successful. Number one is training your people, training your employees in each department, not just your sales guys, but your tire guys, your service guys, your oil change guys, are you upselling on your oil change rack? That is your fixed operations. If you're not training your whole facility, you're really setting yourself up for disappointment, and you're not going to grow. You have to grow, and you have to be relevant, and training really allows you to be relevant. So I'm a big believer in get out of your office, shake your customers' hands. I go into our waiting room every single day and ask the customers and guests if they want soda, water, coffee, anything at all. Hey, if you need anything today, please let me know. I'm always here. I'm always around. I'll even give them a card with my cell phone number on it. Like I want them to engage with me if they need anything at all. But you know what? Each one of my salespeople, they do the same thing. The owner does the same thing. The secretaries do the same thing. Elena, the operations manager, she does the same thing. So I think that we are all kind of bought in with Lloyd Bell Automotive, that we're a big family here and that service means everything. But outside people, general managers, talk to your salespeople, figure out what's going on. Hey, what are the customers saying to the salespeople on the lot? Are they saying that your prices are too much? Are they saying that you don't have enough trucks to look at? Are they saying that they want a $20,000 truck? You have to be able to engage with your salespeople and get them to tell you the keys that you need to focus on to make them better or make your store better at the same time. So, you have to identify the areas that you need to work on, and then you work on them right then and there. You come up with a strategy, you put it in place. How are you supposed to succeed if you don't have a strategy? How are you supposed to succeed if you don't put the plan into place? How are you supposed to succeed though if you have the mindset, but nobody else has the mindset? So you have to get everybody else's mindset on the same page as I'm going to succeed. I'm going to become better. And this is how I do it.
Brother, this is fire. Thank you so much for taking your time to be able to bless our audience with your energy, your passion, and your subject matter expertise. I mean, again, kudos to you. Your father should be very, very, very proud of you. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you guys. You do so much great for this industry. I really appreciate you and your team. It's awesome being here with you, and look forward to working with you more in the future.
Real quick, because you just triggered a thought. I have ADD. I'm a car guy. You know what I mean? So again, no crazy plug or what have you, but I want people to know you were in the Millionaire Car Salesman group and you listen to the podcast. What value do you get from being in the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, and what value do you get from listening to the podcast?
Wow. I can't tell you enough how many nights I've spent from say 10 to 2 a.m. listening to these podcasts and making notes because I need to become better as a GM and as a leader. We've said this in the podcast. I was a salesperson before. I had a totally different mindset of how I was going to work. What is the dealership going to bring me today versus what am I going to bring to the dealership? That's one of the big things that I've taken out of your podcast is you have people on the podcast that are doers. They're movers and shakers.
Yes.
We have the positive mindset. We're going to create something. It's really allowed me to listen to other people in this industry that are successful and try to put little parts of everybody into play here at this dealership. So VinCue, CarNow, MarketPage, AutoWeb, we use all those vendors now, not because you said them, but because they honestly offer the best product for us. They seem like they care. You know what MarketPage said to us? MarketPage, well, first off, we're the first independent dealership that MarketPage has worked with.
Wow.
They spent 8 months making script for us so that we would have the perfect SEO. And you know what? We do. But we worked with Waylon. We worked with Tyler. They said, you know what, guys? Here's what we are per month. But we aren't going to take that amount of money until we grow you 100%. Our fees are contingent on how good we do for you. Wow. Wouldn't you like to work with every business that's like that knows their shit so much that they're like, hey, we're not going to take a fee until we grow your business. Okay, let's do this.
Brother, it's amazing to me that you are a general manager of a dealership as successful as you are, and you are personally, proactively learning, self-educating hours at night. So again, you are an example for a lot of people to follow. So with that, I'm going to cut the podcast. Stay on the line. I appreciate you, my friend. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like it, you love it, you want more of it, then don't wait for the next money show. Just go to bradleyondemand.com and take your career to the next level. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.